Derby County have reportedly put in an offer for Valencia winger Sergi Canos. Now, the Spanish winger has played in the EFL Championship before. He's also spent time in England with the likes of Liverpool, Norwich and also Brentford. It is going to be very interesting to see how this one does progress across the course of the next few weeks, as Derby County are obviously searching for positions in those wide areas. With obviously the deal for Koki Kyoto falling through, it opens up the door for another move to be made. But obviously for Derby County to make these moves, some players will have to move on. But who will those players be? You can obviously let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Now, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Make sure you check out the likes of NordVPN, Kitbag and CD keys down in the comments. There's obviously a lot to talk about with Sergi Canos. Derby County aren't the only team interested in a move, as he has also received a call from Los Angeles FC of the MLS, but we're going to get into that in this video. Now, obviously, if you have not done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. We will be live later on today to discuss all things Derby County, transfers, news and also looking ahead to Derby County versus Burnley. And then obviously tomorrow we'll be live at 7:15 for the watch along of Derby County versus Burnley in round 2 of the EFL Cup. So make sure you are subscribed and follow me on all platforms on TikTok, Twitch and YouTube. Now, shall we get into talking all about Sergi Canos? Now, as mentioned, Sergi Canos is a 28-year-old left winger who reportedly has an offer on the table from Derby County. Now, it's obviously also been mentioned that he has had a call from Los Angeles FC in the MLS as well, but he has also reportedly rejected an offer from a team in Turkey. Now, it is going to be interesting to see how this move does sort of progress. At 28 years old, currently playing in the first tier of Spanish football for Valencia, and is contracted up until the summer of 2027. Now, according to that of Transfer Market, he's valued at around €1 million, but that is going to be interesting to see if that is the fee that Derby County do end up paying. Now, if we look across the course of his career, he spent a lot of time in England for the likes of Norwich, Liverpool and Brentford, and Derby County are really putting together sort of an ex-Liverpool cohort of players. You look at the likes of Owen Beck, who's joined, you look at Ryan Brewster, Bobby Clark has played there, and if we bring in Sergi Canos, that is just another one to add to the list. Now, obviously, if we talk about his time at Brentford, 249 appearances across the course of the Championship and the Premier League, scoring 36 times, collecting 32 assists, and since then he's moved on to the likes of Olympiacos and then on to Valencia, where his spell at Olympiacos wasn't necessarily as planned. 8 games, 4 goals, 3 assists, and ultimately didn't quite hit the ground running there, and it just didn't quite go long term for him, unfortunately. Now, the most interesting thing about this for me is that he is a player who can play a wide range of different positions. He can play left back, right back, he can play both wing back positions, he can play on both wings, and he can also play all of the attacking positions through the middle as a number 10, as that sort of second striker and as your number 9. Now, his most known positions is that left hand side, especially over the course of recent years, but obviously across the course of his career he has played on both sides, and he's made more appearances on the right than he has done on the left. But obviously that's something which will have to be decided by John Eustace if this deal does come to fruition. Now, obviously, as we're talking about this right now, no deal has been agreed and no move is sort of set to happen, let's say, as it stands right now. But he is a player who could step into Derby County's first team literally within a heartbeat, in my personal opinion. Now, if we do look at those positions a little bit deeper, on the right-hand side, he's played 162 times with 19 goals and 25 assists. If we talk about the left-hand side, it's 100 appearances, 20 goals and 16 assists. He's also played on those right wing and left wing back positions 43 times, scoring 3, collecting 6 assists as well. And he's obviously played in a range of other positions as well. Now, for me, this is a very sort of interesting move for Derby County to make. Not in terms of the player, but more in terms of how they get this done. Because for Derby County, we obviously know that wingers is a massive part of what they are trying to get sorted over the course of the next few weeks, because right now I don't think Derby County actually have sort of a match fit or fully fit winger. Now, don't get me wrong, the likes of Bobby Clark, Andreas Weimann, Kayden Jackson, Ryan Brewster can all play across those wide areas, but it's one for me where, do you want them to play in those wide areas? For me, I think that Ryan Brewster is much better in a central position. I think Bobby Clark will have more of an impact sort of come in a lot more narrow as well. You look at someone like Patrick Agyemang, who has taken the number 7 shirt, but will he be playing on that right-hand side? That's something which we're going to have to wait and see. Now, obviously, there is a lot of talking points that can come with this, and the move for Sergi Canos for me is a smart one. Knows the division, has competed at a high level in this division before, and obviously spent a lot of time in England with Liverpool, with Norwich, and then obviously with Brentford, where he got promoted of all things. And obviously, if you look at what Derby County are trying to do, sort of across the course of this season, next season and so on, it is definitely trying to push themselves into sort of playoff and promotion contention, which ultimately they haven't yet been able to do. Now, obviously, the start to this season maybe hasn't quite gone as planned in terms of the results John Eustace probably would have wanted, and probably the results that Derby County probably deserved. In my opinion, we probably should have got a point against both Stoke and Coventry, and that would have then put us a little bit higher in the table, but ultimately we cannot complain too much because Coventry obviously went on to win 7-1 the other day. You obviously see Stoke City, I think they've won 3 out of 3 so far as well. So it's a very, very good position for all these teams to find themselves in. But does Sergi Canos make Derby County better? I think that should be the question of this video. And I think the answer to that really is yes. And I think there's no other way to really look at it. And I think even if Corey Blackett-Taylor returns to fitness or something along those lines, I don't necessarily think that he's an instant name on the team sheet. I think you've got those worries and those doubts about injuries which come from having a player like Blackett-Taylor in the squad. And that's obviously really, really hard to sort of deal with for me, because when you're trying to pick your best 11, you're trying to make the most of results and opportunities. You don't want one of your best players to be consistently worrying about injuries and being in the red zone and things like that. Now, obviously, we're not going to see Corey Blackett-Taylor for a few weeks, but it's something that, in my opinion, needs to sort of be discussed in that sort of injury capacity and sort of where that could go across the course of the next few weeks, because there's massive, massive roles that could be at play if Corey Blackett-Taylor comes back, plays a couple of games and gets injured again if we don't fill in those roles. And I think even on the right-hand side, Derby are in need of players, but I think if you can have one of your wingers come in narrow and supporting your striker, then I think we're in a good position. But if you can't have those wingers come in narrow, then I think you've got to have people that can play outside. And I think someone like Kayden Jackson can play outside but doesn't like to beat a man. Corey Blackett-Taylor can play outside and can beat a man. So it'll be interesting to see if sort of Canos sort of takes that role sort of moving forward. But we are going to have to sort of wait and see sort of how that progresses across the course of the next few days. Now, obviously, there's a lot to learn from a player like Sergi Canos. There's a lot to learn from how this may move going forwards. Now, obviously, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you have not done so already, check out the likes of NordVPN, Kitbag, and CD keys down in the description. Make sure that you get some goods for your worth. And obviously, NordVPN is one of the best VPNs on the market. CD keys is one of the best gaming providers on the market as well. And we all know about Kitbag, who provides shirts at equal cost to those of the clubs. But we will see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Will Sergi Canos sign? Let me know down below. I'll catch you in the next one.